Welcome to this short introductory video on Sustain, POPAI's Eco Design Indicator tool. Sustain is a password protected user login type tool and it's based on an account where you can see the settings here. What we're going to focus on today is how you create a project and see the results of that project within Sustain. So if I click on my project here, this gives me a list of everything I've created under my logging for the Sustain tool. We're going to go through one of these to show exactly how it works. So you can delete projects or you can work on them, edit them, view them. So we'll look at one and show how this works. So here you see the overview of the project. There are two versions in this project, which we'll touch on later, but the idea of Sustain is it allows you to compare up to 6 different versions of a given project. The overview contains information such as the title, the type of POP, which is from a pre-populated list. The description here is free text, and in this particular version, or in this particular project, I have 2 versions. So what we're going to do is to look at one of the versions to show you how the tool works. So this particular version of a piece of POP here, version number 1, you put in information about where you get the product from, where you're selling the product to. So in this particular situation, we're manufacturing and distributing from France, and our end customer is in Germany. And there's also travel and distance information here that the tool automatically fills in or you can override. So we're not going to go into these in too much detail. We're just showing how this works. There are more detailed instructions available to explain exactly what all these inputs mean. So that's the particular version. Each project is based on the product, which is the piece of POP or the display. And it's what the information you need to put in is related around the bill of materials. So you can see here I've created 4 components, and the information I need to be able to use the tool is the weight of the material, which you will see here, the weight of the component, the recycled content of the component, and the different processes that that material might go through during its manufacture, where I source the component from, and how it gets to my facility in terms of the mode of transport. So there's a range of components here. For example, there, component number 2 is shipped by air from China, etc. So that's the bill of materials information that you need to input into the tool. You get a total product weight. You have to include information on product volume, so that's the physical size of the product, and also the life expectancy. Once you've specified all the information on the product or the piece of POP, you can move on to packaging. This is the packaging used to distribute and deliver the finished item. Works on exactly the same principle as the product section: materials, weights, recycled content, processes, locations of source, etc. The difference in the packaging is that you can have 2 types of packaging or 2 levels. So a primary pack, this might be a box you put the display into. And then a secondary pack could be, for example, a pallet that you put a number of the original boxes onto. You include information about volume again, and how many times a particular piece of packaging is used. So Sustain will take into account reuse of packaging and how that reduces impacts. Then you move on to use. The tool measures in-use impacts in only one way, and that's electricity usage. So if a piece of POP had lighting, screens, some form of energy use built into it, you would specify the information here, the total energy requirement, how many hours a week it runs, and that will give you a total impact in terms of energy. And the final stage is to specify what happens to the piece of POP at end of life. So if we click on that, you will see here that we have the list of materials that make up your product and a list of materials that make up your packaging. You choose from these buttons which is the route that each of the materials will go to. So in this case, I've said High density polyethylene will be recycled. My printed circuit board assembly will go for recycling. My chipboard will go to landfill, and the aluminium component will also be recycled. So this helps us to define end of life impacts. You'll also see here that there is an indicator, a button that says whether or not the product is easy to disassemble or not. And again, you choose that. So that's a very quick way of putting all the information in and the information requirements for the calculation. And what you then get is a set of results. Now here we have two versions. The results give you a score between 1 and 20 for each of these impacts that are measured. We have qualitative impacts here. So these are indicator impacts based on supply chain logistics, materials and processes, end of life, delivery logistics, the amount of recycled content in a particular product, and its overall design in terms of number of materials, etc. As you see, the results allow you to show different versions. You can turn versions on and off. So here I just look at version 1. Here I compare version 1 and version 2. We also, this is just for the product, so the POP, the packaging is looked at separately. So you can see similar process, only 5 design indicators here, but that's just the packaging. So these are shown separately. They're never shown together as a total unit. So I'll quickly go back to this one. The idea of the spider diagram is the larger the area plotted on the diagram, the worse the score, the higher the impact. And further down in the results, we also have information on product carbon footprints in terms of materials, transport, use, water footprint of materials used, and then some assessment based on how much recycled content, what happens to the product at end of life, how much you send to the landfill, etc. And then right at the bottom of the results section are some general recommendations that the tool will make, where it highlights areas that you might want to look at into more detail, such as increasing recycled content of materials. The results can also be outputted to either a PDF to share with other users or an Excel. Now the export to Excel is particularly useful because it will allow you to manipulate the results even further and possibly change the format of graphs, etc. So that's a very quick whistle-stop tour of the Sustain tool. Hopefully that has explained exactly how to use it and the type of results that you will see.